after weeks of confusion over the Trump administration's self-inflicted border crisis. Government lawyers expect only about half of the more than 2,500 migrant children still separated from their parents to be reunited with them by today's court-ordered deadline. Officials are scrambling to account for hundreds of mothers and fathers who may have already been deported without their children or unwittingly signed releases without understanding the paperwork, making reunification for them all but impossible. Now, exclusive new audio obtained by NBC News from inside an immigration hearing as one mother whose asylum request was denied begs a judge to be returned with her daughter.
Ma'am, I do wish you good luck in your home country.
Deseo la mejor suerte en su país natal. Sí.
That is all.
Es todo. And my daughter?
Where is your daughter, ma'am?
¿Dónde se encuentra su hija?
Nueva York.
New York.
Okay. Would you want to take your daughter with you back to your home country?
¿Usted quisiera llevarse a su hija atrás con usted para su país natal? Yes.
You might want to talk to the Department of Homeland Security to see if it's possible to reunite you and your daughter.
Joining me now is, I'm really speechless over this, NBC's Gabe Gutierrez in San Benito, Texas, who obtained that exclusive courtroom audio. Victoria DeFrancesco, a professor at the School of Public Affairs at the University of Texas and an MSNBC contributor, also joins us. And Lee Gullert, deputy director of the ACLU's Immigrants' Rights Project, waiting for that hearing today. Gabe, tell me about that family, and I believe you have some new tape from a family involved.
Hi there, Andrea. Good afternoon. So yes, that woman you just heard from, she had, that was part of a credible fear hearing. That's the first test for asylum. And as you heard there, the judge denied that asylum request. And this woman had a lot of questions about how she would be reunited with her child. We just heard from her attorney that she now has been reunited, but that she is still in family detention. We did hear from another woman, another recording that we obtained. She said that her child was still in a, at that time, earlier this month, was in a facility in Arizona, and she had no idea how to be reunited with that child. She begged the judge at that point that all she wanted to do was be reunited. And that's something we're hearing over and over again from immigration advocates, that as the government struggles to reunite these families, that the whole process is chaotic and confusing. Now, right now, we're here in San Benito, Texas, near McAllen. This is a shelter that typically deals with migrant families. They say from time to time now they are seeing some of these family members come in as this reunification process is underway. But the director here says that there is some confusion here, and now some of these families are being reunited behind closed doors in the Port Isabel Detention Center. So let's take a listen at some of more audio from that other hearing regarding that woman who had her daughter in Arizona. Take a listen, Andrea.
Pasé todos los días llorando, llorando. Dije yo, Dios mío, ¿qué hice? Pensé que nunca iba a recuperar.
Me metieron a un carro y en ese carro hacía mucho calor y yo lloraba y lloraba porque el calor ya no lo aguantaba.
So again, that was the audio recording from that first woman that we were talking about, the woman that had her daughter in Arizona. Again, Andrea, we just heard that that woman has been reunited with her daughter, but as you just heard, a very emotional situation where she goes before an immigration judge and her first instinct is to plead to be reunited with her daughter, even though the judge at that time really had nothing to do with whether she would be reunited or not. She was told that she needed to talk to the Department of Homeland Security in order to make that happen. The ACLU, though, has said that has filed, according to an affidavit earlier this week, that several families have been misled in order to sign away their rights in order to proceed with reunification. So certainly a lot of confusion here on the ground in Texas. Andrea?
And what we just saw also was this mother with an 11-year-old son, Jeremy, explaining about how hot it was when he was put in the car and he couldn't stand the heat, and they have been reunited. To try to clear some of this up, Lee, the ACLU is in court today, and you have asked, I believe, for 7 days so that some of these families, some of whom have signed away their rights to either hearings or their children because they were given paperwork that they could not read or understand and they didn't have legal counsel. You want 7 days from the court, if I'm correct, so that they can get some pro bono help here.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We will be having a hearing tomorrow. We've submitted the briefs, and we'll be having a hearing tomorrow to get a 7-day stay of removal, which is more than reasonable. The government has separated these families for months and months, and now all of a sudden the government wants to remove them immediately before the families have had any time to talk with each other about what is likely to be a life-altering decision. So we are asking for 7 days so they can talk to legal counsel, that they can come together to make this decision. It may be that some parents are going to have to leave their children behind because that's the only thing they can do to protect their children, but that is such a momentous decision, and the government wanted them to do it in brief phone calls when the child is so distraught and crying, the parent is crying. All we're asking for is a few days for them to come together and get pro bono counsel, and the government is saying, no, we want to remove these families immediately upon reunification without any time for consultation together.
Victoria, I read that some of these parents are signing away their right to asylum or signing away their right to be reunited with their kids, who they don't speak Spanish or English. They speak indigenous languages. They are from all over Central America.
What we've been getting reports of, Andrea, is a tremendous amount of pressure being put on these parents. So first of all, there's the emotional pressure of having been separated from your child. Then we're also hearing that guards, that ICE officers themselves are saying, just sign the papers, get reunited with your children, and not letting them know that there is a legal route. I mean, we have asylum laws in this country, and what is so disturbing within this whole enterprise is that the administration is running roughshod over our asylum practices. These people are coming here and asking for that, and there is a process put into place for that. And we look at the numbers where only about half of the parents are going to be reunited with their children, Andrea. And my next question, after we get past this deadline and maybe the 7-day stay, is what happens afterwards? And I think that's going to be the continuing story, where these kids are going to fall into a new class called special immigrant juveniles, where they're going to end up actually being eligible for long-term permanent residency and perhaps even citizenship. So we have to think about the long term, something that the Trump administration did not do when they put the zero-tolerance policy into place.
And I saw, actually, Gabe, I saw Kirstjen Nielsen at a hearing or an interview in the last 24 hours saying, well, they can go back to their countries and then, call us at DHS and find their kids. How are they supposed to do that?
Well, Andrea, and that's what many immigration advocates have said, that not only is it extremely difficult for these parents while they're here in order to navigate through the government bureaucracy, but just imagine being separated from your child and then being deported and then trying to find out that information. Now, the government has come out and said that some parents actually make that decision to be deported and to leave their child here, but immigration activists, including the ACLU and the Texas Civil Rights Project, say that they don't buy that. That in some cases, some of these parents are so confused that they may not be understanding what exactly they're signing. So yes, in the interview that we played a little earlier, as you mentioned, Andrea, there was that 11-year-old boy. He said that he had been bullied while in detention. He said that he and his mother had been separated for 45 days, and that little boy told us that he thought they were just going to be separated for a few days, but it was obviously more than a month until they were able to be reunited. But as you heard there, extremely emotional time, traumatic time, they say, from the time when they're separated in detention to when they're finally reunited. The government now trying to scramble to make that deadline today. It doesn't appear like they will be able to. Andrea?
Gabe, thank you so much for all of your reporting. Gabe Gutierrez and Victoria as well in legal and with the court action by the ACLU. Thanks for everything you're all doing.